You know, people go on and on about like you have to forgive and forget to move past something. No, you don't. You don't have to forgive and you don't have to forget to move on. You can move on without any of those things happening.
Yes, Taylor Swift agreed to be deposed by Brian Friedman.
Could Taylor Swift's text messages actually destroy Blake Lively's case? And does Justin already have them?
Judge Lyman is using Taylor Swift's evidence to dissect her case, and Blake Lively is losing it. Explosive text suggests that Blake asked Taylor to delete messages in an attempt to blackmail her. Now that Lyman has criticized Wayfair for its careless delays, Baldwin responds by bringing in legal titans Jonathan Bach and Alexander Shapiro.
Finally, it says here at the end, Ms. Lively misleading implies the Wayfair parties seek a blanket 30-day extension of the discovery cutoff date. In fact, the Wayfair parties request an agreement solely to take the deposition of Taylor Swift.
Put the glitzy red carpets out of your mind. Ignore the meticulously chosen family photos on Instagram. This is the actual Blake, trembling in a courtroom as Taylor Swift, of all people, prepares to testify and reveal the truth from October 20th to October 25th, 2025. Make a note of such dates. Brian Friedman has arranged a deposition with Taylor Swift. And not merely a friendly conversation. We are discussing an on-camera interview with every word captured on tape and permanently preserved. Can you even fathom Blake's current state of anxiety? Now, the same buddy she has relied on for years will sit in a courtroom and essentially tear off the bandage covering her whole case.
Blake Lively's team is complaining to the judge that they haven't seen these signal messages that they think is going to involve some kind of bombshell or some kind of evidence. And they're complaining to the judge that they haven't been able to see them yet. And Maldoni's team is saying that we are willing to give it to you, but it takes a while to retrieve these messages.
This marks the start of the meltdown. Earlier this year, Wayfair was granted access to those brief, animated texts by Judge Lyman. Blake was meant to deliver them. Tell me, when did Blake ever appear to be someone who voluntarily gives herself something harmful? She walked slowly. She hesitated. She acted as though the alarm clock hadn't been heard. But the judge was extremely explicit about that. Such writings are appropriate for discovery. And now that Taylor has agreed to show up, Blake's game of hide-and-seek is over. When the biggest pop star in the world is actually sitting down under oath, she cannot hide behind her Hollywood glitz.
They're also talking about the deposition dates for Justin Baldoni, which is, I think, September 21st and September 22nd. And Blake Lively's team wants to see all these messages before they're subpoenaing everyone, blah, blah, blah.
This irony is delightful, too. Blake's team strutted to Variety back in May 2025, making fun of Wayfair for even attempting to subpoena Taylor. They claimed that when the subpoena was dropped, Wayfair had dissolved. They pretended that Friedman had run out of tricks. The joke is on them after a few months, though, as Taylor wasn't just dragged in. She offered to help. Yes, she replied. She isn't resisting. No Hollywood justifications. Don't be a diva. She is coming straight in. Additionally, Blake's stomach striking the floor is almost audible. Furthermore, let's stop acting like this is about friendship. The friendship is no longer alive. Turn to ash. If you and Blake continue to share champagne on social media, you don't ignore Ryan Reynolds. Friedman used Taylor's name in court documents, but Taylor didn't sue him for it. Taylor had the opportunity to stand up for Blake, but she chose not to. More powerful than any Instagram tale is silence. Taylor has also been incredibly silent. IT is visible to all. Everyone is aware of it. The friendship that lasted so long is over. Taylor is presently entering with the receipts. And what they are, receipts that due to the harsh nature of the accusations. This goes beyond simply strained friendships. We're discussing allegations that Blake asked Taylor to remove texts and, worse, attempted to blackmail her into publicly endorsing her.
Well, I mean, Friedman said specifically, right, when he put that order out that, someone close to Taylor, which it seems was her father, was not only saying that, there was stuff, but that Blake was asking Taylor to delete text messages. If that's found, that's going to be brutal. I mean, that's definitely not going to help her case.
That is evidence tampering, not simply untidy. Do you realize how desperate it must be to text your best friend who is a superstar, "Hey girl, can you delete that?" Blake, really? This is not a dispute over brunch arrangements in a group chat. This case is at the federal level. Evidence is not erased. Law School 101 is that. Blake also obviously missed class. Let's now discuss the second bomb that will soon be dropped. The actual texts. Whether you agree with him or not, Perez Hilton is sitting there claiming that the Wayfair parties have already seen them.
Take a moment to process that.
The Wayfair parties have seen the text messages between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively.
Alden's group is keeping a watch on those texts. Additionally, Perez's source claims that they are disastrous for Blake, not a little awkward, not a little embarrassing, but catastrophic. It might be so terrible that your entire legal story begins to fall apart like a poorly written screenplay. Although Taylor isn't the one on trial here, it's not exactly sunshine and roses for her either, as she doesn't want her private conversations to appear in court records. Blake is.
I think they have the text messages, and I think they got them recently, and that's why they decided to pull this last-ditch effort to get Taylor Swift to get deposed. I think if they had something prior, they probably would have tried to get her on the books sooner.
What are these texts about, then? According to some, Blake is seen directly pressuring Taylor. Blake's sworn statements in court could be contradicted by others. Imagine giving one statement while the receipts reveal the exact opposite. That is considered perjury, and jurors find it extremely offensive. Blake's clever idea to use the Signal app's auto-delete feature is the icing on the cake. Yes, since nothing shouts innocence like using an app that deletes communications. Her staff complained that recovering the erased messages takes time. I'm not joking. It would be like to robbing a bank and then claiming that the cops are taking too long to count the money. Friedman did not accept it. He insisted again that the data could be retrieved. Furthermore, everything Blake believed Taylor could conceal could suddenly be brought to light by her deposition.
But, I mean, Taylor's legal team made it clear that they were only notified 3 days before that they were even being dragged back into this for a deposition. So I think that's probably when they got the text messages. We do know that Lyman ruled in favor of the Wayfair parties to get the text messages. So I'm assuming they've now entered the group chat, and there's probably something in there that contradicts something that Blake has said.
Not to be overlooked is Friedman's affidavit. Blake requested Taylor to remove the evidence. This man swore. It's not a rumor. On paper, that is. It is no longer only embarrassing if Taylor affirms this under oath. It's intentional obstruction. That cannot be interpreted as a miscommunication between friends. It is obstructive. It's simple. The most amusing aspect is that everyone thought TMZ or another tabloid would publish these texts. Not at all. That is not the game that Wayfair is playing. They resemble a nuclear warhead perched above them. They don't require gossip articles. At the ideal moment, they wish to discard it in court documents.
And if Taylor Swift are going to share these things under that deposition under oath, and she is Justin Baldoni's witness,
imagine Blake sitting there feeling as though she had the advantage at last. Then, in a courtroom, her own remarks are read out loud. Just cold, hard, legal ammunition will do. Photographers are not needed. What does this mean for Blake, then? Surrounded. She has used smoke and mirrors, protracted proceedings, tantrums, and the expectation that the court will accommodate her celebrity position. But when Taylor Swift is standing across from you, celebrity is ineffective. Taylor is not a typical witness. She is the world's biggest pop star. The entire story falls apart the moment she testifies that Blake coerced her or urged her to remove evidence. Blake is also aware of it. That is the cause of the meltdown. The desperation is evident because of this.
I'm assuming they've now entered the group chat, and there's probably something in there that contradicts something that Blake has said that I think will be useful to the Wayfair parties and would have been useful had they been able to depose her.
Blake believed she could use her charm and public relations skills to muscle her way out of this situation. However, PR won't get you out of a deposition. Text logs are not erased by red carpets. Furthermore, making fun of Wayfair in May today seems absurd. They didn't fold. They took a long-term approach. The protracted game concludes with Taylor Swift taking an oath in late October as everyone watches to see how horribly Blake's case turns out. As the polished one, the untouchable Hollywood star with the ideal family brand, Blake has always attempted to market herself. But she appears untidy in this courtroom. Her expression is desperate. She appears to have strained relations with the one person who could have discreetly stood up for her. And that individual is now set to become the other side's star witness.
Maybe this was all part of the plan where Taylor's like, look, I'll give you some dirt against Blake. I'll give you these texts. Obviously, let's do it that way. But we have to ensure I don't have to testify. Like that, I'm not going to do. If you want me to play easy, I'll give you this bullet. But we have to make sure it looks like I'm not privy to it and you forced it out of me.
At last, Judge Lyman had had enough. The smoke virtually poured out of his ears as Wayfair pleaded for a mere 10-day extension. 10 days. In federal court, that is entirely irrelevant. Judges frequently allow those little postponements. However, not after you've already squandered 6 months. They had 6 months to get ready, collect proof, and get everything in order. What did they do, too? Waited right up until the last second, placed a pile of 100,000 documents at the base of the court, and then pretended to be shocked when the judge didn't find it impressive. You can't expect applause when you bring in 100,000 pages the night before. It's not a legal tactic. That is an outburst wrapped in papers.
Also, according to what leaked to the media back in May, Taylor Swift had been asked by Blake Lively to delete text messages between them. That's basically evidence tampering, which is very serious.
Lyman simply refused. Can you really blame him, too? He was able to see through the turmoil. He was aware that Wayfair didn't take deadlines seriously. The 10 days had nothing to do with his refusal. It had to do with the idea. He had a message for you. You had 6 months to organize yourself. Instead, you attempted to manipulate the system. Don't wait until discovery is shutting to unleash a deluge of docs if you want pity. Judges detest that. Everyone's time is wasted by this. Time is of the essence in federal court.
Due to Miss Swift's pre-existing professional obligations. Whether the court agrees to the broader modification sought by plaintiff, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court modify the scheduling order for the sole purpose of accommodating third-party witness Taylor Swift.
Subpoenas are another issue. Wayfair was unable to handle even the most basic information, such addresses. You present the judge with the information when you request a subpoena. "Oh, we didn't want to bother you with the specifics," is not a shrug you use. It doesn't operate that way. Judges are usually looking for specifics. And here's Friedman blundering the ball once more, claiming boldly in the press that he would sue Blake to death, then tumbling in court because his squad was unable to handle the fundamentals. Please, oblivion. Blake now appears more vibrant than ever, while Wayfair is struggling to maintain her reputation.
Baldoni's team agreed to drop the subpoena against Taylor Swift. In that subpoena, they were looking for information how Taylor Swift was actually involved in the production and everything with It Ends With Us. Now, that's not really their goal here. Their goal here is to get the information out of Taylor Swift.
Ron, a legal analyst, said it best. Lyman's rejection demonstrated that he had had enough of the circus, even though judges often don't give a damn about minor extensions. He had lost his patience. His words, "I'm not here to babysit you clowns," were almost audible. You would never want a federal judge to use such tone. However, Wayfair earned it with each careless document and each unfulfilled pledge. Instead of persuading the man in the robe, they devoted more effort to supplying gossip blogs. And now they're paying for it. The pattern is quite clear. Every time Friedman spoke in front of the cameras, the repercussions in the courtroom were more severe. Devastation was his promise. Instead of burying Blake as he had promised, he buried the reputation of his own crew. It's similar to witnessing a magician reveal his tricks repeatedly, then trip over his own cape before revealing the secret. It makes sense why the critics claim that the Baldwin team squandered their time and effort pursuing publicity rather than accuracy. Splashy moments are not appreciated by the court, despite their desire for them. Wayfair kept making mistakes with the receipts that the court requested.